Kia ora. Welcome to New Zealand. Welcome to the last circuit report of 2020. It's been a super quiet year for circuit reports because, well, the world went to shit, didn't it, basically? So here I am. I'm back in New Zealand, for those of you that didn't know. So New Zealand is, well, there's worse places to spend a day. I'm heading out to one of the west coast beaches now to enjoy a nice summer's day, which will be pretty good, I hope. I know a lot of you fellas are in winter now, but yeah, it's not the same in NZ. We're looking at temps of in the low 20s, mid 20s, high 20s every day. So yeah, life's pretty good. But let's take a moment to talk about how cataclysmically shit 2020 was. So 2020 started well. I took a really chill time to begin the year. I'd been in this wonderful place called Ticino with Melissa Lenev, Fabi Buell, Ned Fihali, some of the Russian crew, etc. at the end of December 2019. And 2020, it was time to switch it up. So I headed to Magic Wood just to put my feet up and chill, because I knew 2020 was going to be super busy year. There's so many comps, so much going on, and 2020 started good. End of January, I got the confirmation of my Olympic accreditation from the IFSC, so psyched on that. That made me super happy. And then shortly after that, started to read more and more about this virus that was creeping out of Asia and into the rest of the world, and I was like, no, this doesn't look good. And about the same time, I'd started my vlog, and I had every commitment to doing it as a regular thing, but just wasn't sure, you know, because, well, the idea of a vlog was to talk about the scene, talk about the comps, talk about everything like that, and what was going to happen if there weren't any. I didn't just want to be a talking head until things started again. But yeah, so moved to February, we had Dockmasters. Dockmasters, fantastic comp, absolutely loved it. I had the death plague while I was there. Anyone that watches back the live stream video will just hear me sounding super crook. Don't know if I was an early adopter to COVID or if I just had general purpose bad sickness. But after that, went back to Magic Wood, chilled, then went up to Studio Block. And Studio Block, wow, always love Studio Block. It's the first chance of the year to see everyone you haven't seen through the winter. Super good vibe, super nice crowd, super well set, like one of the highlight comps of the year. And loved it, but such a interesting vibe, because you just got the sense that things were going pear-shaped in a big old hurry. And so with things going pear-shaped, I actually made the call not to go to Quiff. So I was supposed to fly from Frankfurt straight across to Manchester, go into Quiff the week after Studio Block. Just went, nah, not worth it. Risk is too high. If I get caught out and can't come back into Europe, if they close the borders, pretty much all my stuff was in Switzerland, so canned that idea. Jumped on the train, headed back to that lovely place we call Magic Wood for what was to be my last European stint of the year. After that, well, things got interesting really, didn't they? So I called the New Zealand consulate, and I said to them, look guys, like, what's the game plan? I'm living in Switzerland, I'm in a super secure place, but not super psyched, obviously. If the world's about to end, I'm being up shit creek without a paddle. And they said, look, stay where you are, you're in the best possible place. You know, Switzerland's fairly well sorted, etc., etc. You're in a small mountain town, no dramas. So that's what I did, I just chilled. And then the next day, so I didn't chill for long, got a call from the consulate, and all they said was, oh yeah, good old Swiss government has declared a state of emergency, your insurance is void, you got to get the hell out of town because if you do get crook or anything, you're not covered. So that was Switzerland, and that weekend I was on a plane back to NZ, chilling out. Went to the middle of nowhere for my isolation, place called Coromandel Peninsula, which is about 3.5-4 hours drive out of Auckland. And then I just put my feet up, basically. I had 2 weeks of managed isolation, but then the country went into lockdown, so that became 6 weeks of managed isolation. But then the people that owned the place I was staying said, hey, why don't you just stay for the winter? We're shut for tourists for the winter, you can stay. So I ended up spending the better part of 5 months up in the middle of nowhere, just chilling, taking it easy, and trying to sort out what was happening. And, you know, basically everything was shit. You got to think from the get-go, comps were being cancelled, jobs were being called off. It was, as a professional photographer, it was about as bad as it gets. But as a professional photographer, you also learn to roll with the punches, and so I rolled with the punches. I sort of accepted what was happening. I was very lucky. Adidas, who are one of the brands that supported me for a long time, they actually sent out a whole lot of products so I could do some product shooting for them, even though I was stuck in New Zealand, which was, yeah, I mean, top quality. That really kept me alive through winter. I can't thank those guys enough. But then, yeah, things started to go pear-shaped again and again. The comps were being postponed, the comps were being cancelled, and yeah, what to do when your whole world is, well, FUBAR basically. And yeah, June obviously got off to a horrible start with the loss of Loose Duodee, and that one I think affected us a lot as a community. Obviously so horrible to lose such a bright young star to the sport, and the fact that everyone was apart, everyone was separated, everyone was alone when it happened just made it that much more brutal, because we couldn't get together as a community, celebrate her life, mourn her among friends. So I know a lot of the young climbers were feeling very isolated, feeling very alone at that time, and you know, being on the other side of the planet was pretty tough as well. I never knew Luce well. She was always just one of these smiley kids at the comps who had a great attitude, lovely disposition, but yeah, you know, what a loss. I mean, what a huge sting in the tail of an already crap year. After that, obviously some comps did happen. I chose not to come back to Europe. I didn't think it was the responsible thing to do. European champs, there was the opportunity to go. I was invited by the Russian Federation. I said thanks, but no, it's not a risk I'm willing to take. And then yeah, basically I was back in NZ and doing my thing. And what has my thing been? Well, I mean, more than anything, you'd have to say a big part of my thing has been growing my hair really long. So it wasn't intentional. At the end of 2019, I said, well, you know what, last comp I do will be the last time I cut my hair until the next comp, or the next World Cup I should say. And of course that all went pear-shaped because, well, I haven't had a next World Cup yet. It's yeah, better part of a year later, and I'm starting to look like a bit of a hippie, but such is life. So plans for 2021. Look, I can't say at this stage because we don't know where 2021 is yet. We don't know what the deal is. We don't know if I will be back out there somewhere. So if I go pretty much halfway around the world that way, I'm going to end up back in Europe. But you know, that's a whole long way away, whereas I can stay here and pretty much chill until things are sorted and until things are safe, because a lot of people have COVID fatigue. A lot of people are like, I'm over this, I just want to live my life, blah, blah, blah. And if it was just me personally, I would probably make those same choices, but I'm not willing to risk or have that impact on someone else. So I'm not willing to put someone else's life at risk when, it's just for a few photos and to celebrate something, which is what climbing photography is celebrating the achievements of the climbers. And that's not ever going to be worth risking someone's life for. So long story short, I hope to be on the road early next year. I hope to be on the road for maybe Meiringen, but because it goes from Meiringen and then straight to Asia, maybe I skip Meiringen, maybe I go straight to the Asian comps, because it seems nonsensical to me to fly all the way from New Zealand to Switzerland, back to China, Korea, across to the US. I'm adding tens of thousands of kilometers for what, long story short, next year is still an unknown. What am I doing with myself here? Well, I'm taking long walks on the beach, as you can see, and I'm working on a photo book, so a coffee table book of the last 5 years of the circuit, and it's going to celebrate the World Cups I've been at and the fantastic independent comps I've been at. So whether it be Studio Block, whether it be Quiff, whether it be Dock Masters, whether it be Masters of Stone, whatever it may be. If there's a cool comp I've been to and I've got some good images, I'm going to try and get those in there. It's been a labour of love, which has turned into a labour of torment, because there's nothing like editing down 600,000 photos into a selection of a few hundred for a book. But I'm hoping that'll be out in April next year, so pretty psyched on that, but let's see what happens. Anyway, that's pretty much the end. I just wanted to give you guys an update. Obviously, for any of you that have followed the circuit, followed the YouTube channel, and gone, well, why is there no content? Well, pretty simple reason. Life was shit. Didn't really have anything I felt particularly positive about posting about. I never in a million years imagined that I would spend probably what will end up being a whole year back in New Zealand. I haven't lived here since 2003. Big shock for me that. It's beautiful, don't get me wrong, love New Zealand. Not many places you can look out and see, things like that, where you get beautiful west coast beaches, black iron sand, towering cliffs, big seas coming all the way from Australia, which is of course way over the horizon, thousands of kilometers away. I can't think of a better place to be, except none of my friends are here with me. I'm on the wrong side of the planet, which sucks pretty hard, because it's not like any of them can even come visit. But look, I'll try and keep you guys updated more soon. That's just a bit of a rambling update on the lack of joys of 2020, really the perils and pitfalls of the year from hell. The year where I learnt that living on no money is sometimes a necessity and is shitty as hell. The year I learnt that no matter how much you want to be there for friends, if you're geographically isolated, you're shit out of luck. And the year I learnt the values of some people, where you could see people who put their own egos above the health and safety of others. And climbing is a selfish sport, but that one hit me hard. I was pretty disappointed in some of the things that went on this year. The irresponsibility of some people. I know it's hard because you all feel bulletproof, but it's not that hard. Years ago we learned to wear seatbelts in cars. The least we can do is learn to wear a mask. All right, that's enough from me. Have a good new year if this comes out before that. If not, thank God we're in 2021, but I do expect this to come out end of 2020. And let's just cross our fingers and hope for a better day to come. Cheers.